Hello, welcome to episode 150 of We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
And every single week, Stevie Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to overcome the various issues and obstacles that life throws our way. And we get something done. Most recently, we've been working on a supernatural action horror comedy comic called Deathless. We're doing issue 2 right now. We printed our first issue. It's available on our website, www.wehaveissuespodcast.com. You can find it. Click the link below and everything. But Steven, we're like at the last little bit of issue 2. We're so ready. They're so close to finishing it. And every week, if you're not familiar with our show, welcome, first of all. We are, we're two best friends. We're doing this together. We're trying to make comics together since literally high school and failed a bunch, then failed slightly less recently. And we decided to start chronicling it via this podcast. So every week, what we do is we get together and we talk a little bit about the book. Then we talk about stuff that kind of like distracted us, or stuff that like has been on our mind recently. Mostly silly stuff that I can't stop talking about. And then we talk about like what our plans are for the future. So this week we have some things. Steven, before we get into like the comic book stuff, I want to talk. I have some vampire questions for you. So we're gonna do a monster test.
Monster test.
We're gonna do a monster test. I have what is debatably the weirdest Anthony dates robots situation I've ever experienced. So much so that like we hinted at it last week if you've seen our episode, but it's someone with over 2,000 followers who's had their account since 2009, or around there. I think I forget what it, but like who's had their account for a long time. Someone like accused me of being a scammer.
He makes Anthony ask the question, I am become robot. Very yes. Oppenheimer,
I am become robot. I am become bot. Yes,
I am become bot.
So we're gonna do those. Before we get there, Steven, every week we start the show off just feeling bad about ourselves. Is what we do. We're like, did we do enough? So this week I'm gonna switch it up a little. I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna call you a failure first, then ask how you failed. No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean, it's a fair assessment, though.
No, but this week, Steven, I just want to ask, like, okay, what were you able to accomplish this week? Like, what can we celebrate?
I think we can celebrate because I went bare bones into these last 2 pages, and I have both of them in. And you've seen my roughs. My roughs are more than just roughs. They're basically like you can super zoom in and just detail a new layer, and like they're structured. So I did 2 very well drawn out rough drafts of the last 2 pages of the comic. And I've already laid inks on one of them, or have begun to lay inks. So I wanted to get 2 entire pages done, but like it is rough to completely structure 2 whole pages with how we live our lives.
Yes, of course.
But, what I'm saying? Like if this is all we did, of course it's nothing, but like squeezing that time in and short. But anyways, so both pages are like, you've seen them, they're approved, we're going, like this is it. And then really all we got to do after that is finish the colors and put in the faces, and Deathless issue 2 is going to be so close to being done.
Can't wait, dude. I can't wait. This book is so cool. And like, as you finish more and more of these pages, I'm just like, oh, this is real. Because like,
especially because like how long the fight scene is in this issue too. Like I was like looking, I'm like, oh man, there's a lot of pages of this battle. Like
and that's
most of the issue is action, actually.
That was something that I was both like excited for and a little nervous about, because like primarily my strengths as a writer have always been like narrative and like dialogue. Like I'm just like I can craft like an odd story. Like I think I've gotten to the point where like I know how to tell the story, and I really like punchy, silly dialogue and like funny jokes and stuff. When it comes to like pacing stuff with like action in particular, I'm just like, okay, this can go one of a couple ways. There's not a whole lot of bantering when they're fighting, but it is fun, and there are moments of that, that like those little bursts of excitement with the characters, work where you get enough development of the powers and of the, the personalities of the individual characters that I'm like, ooh, I get excited for it. But I have been nervous. Like when I wrote it, I was like, oh, this is a lot of action. People like action. Why not? And then like, as I was like, after I finished it, I was like, wait, what if it's too much action, not enough comedy, and what if it's not funny enough, and what if it's not, so I'm like panicking. But as I see the pages and like they look, you're doing such an amazing job that I'm just like, no one's going to read this and have any thought aside from this is badass. Like this is cool.
This is, and like issue 1 really completely establishes the narrative for this issue going in anyway. Like, I mean, he's already arrived. Deathless has taken Douglas to the first stonekeeper, if you will. So like, you going in, it's one of the roommates that you met in the first issue, and then as the issue goes on, you figure out which roommate it is and like what his role is, what his job was, what he feels like he would do with his power, what he will do with if he ever obtained great power.
Of course,
and what he does is very horrible, but not But anyways,
but yeah, I think it's a pretty good balance altogether, and like there is a lot of action, but I think you've rendered it perfectly, like drawn it perfectly. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get like the words, like I can't wait to do the lettering and actually be able to read this freaking thing and then get it out into the world. I'm so excited for it. I this week colored very minimal. Like I didn't even finish the page I was working. I sucked with coloring. I'll tell you what I did. Like I had a really bad like hay fever sickness situation that like I was dealing with, and my nose is still a little red and like raw. What I did though is I focused on like making shorts and making TikToks and stuff. And I came up with like a new format that I kind of like, where it's like for vertical video, where it's like one of us is on top, one's on bottom. You know how we like it.
Absolutely. We're both power tops and bottoms though, people.
That's right. That's why we switch. We switch naturally.
Like Nintendo.
So
not a paid advertiser.
Not yet. We're gonna get them. We're gonna get one of these advertisements. You like I like how like every episode is just gonna be slowly devolving as like we're licking each other's Cheeto fingers. It's like, ooh, they're evolving here. I like this.
It's just like people only do things for money, and it's sad.
We do the things for love. So this week I came up with like the TikTok and like the YouTube Shorts like formatting. I sent some of those out. I posted the podcast, and I did get some coloring done. I feel good about that. Otherwise I did outline I did like a good outline of the movie thing that I was talking about that I want to make. So I'm like I did that, which like that's like a future thing after we're done lettering. Like once this is lettered, that's when I'm gonna write and focus on that. For now, it's just like early stuff that I can get out of the way when I can do nothing else. But otherwise, Steven, it's been a lot of time. Like now I have a girlfriend. I have a girlfriend. I talk to her, and like we try to like have to like spend time however we can, which it's a long distance thing. So it's spending time like texting and video chatting and watching movies whenever we can and talking that way. And then it's like I'm single dad, so I'm single dadding all the time. And I'm going taking him outside, take him to the arcade, and take him to the places. Meanwhile, Steven, something's been plaguing me. Okay. I don't know. I don't think you've watched What We Do in the Shadows, right?
I've watched some of seasons 1 and 2.
Okay. So you've seen some of it. So I watched like the newest ones. And by the way, I love this show. I'm not a bad word about this show, but I watched the newest ones, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but I do want to do a quick vampire. I want to do like a quick monster test vampire edition because I have questions.
Vampire part 2, right? Yes. So I mean, it's time to do your best. It's time to do your best on the monster test. Monster test.
Yeah.
Vampires 2.
Yes. Oh, it's a. What the weird thing is like how you say vampires 2 every time, even when I talk about
even though like it was obviously we did vampires 1 the first time we did vampires,
but you said vampires 2, and I did.
Like, it was a mistake, but it became the theme song. Like this is actually the 4th time we've talked about vampires.
You're ahead of the game. I like that. I like that you're thinking ahead. You're a forward thinker. It's 4D chess and vampire edition. I appreciate it. Steven, so for those of you who are familiar with our monster test segments, we have segments on our show, and Monster Test is one of them. You just heard the theme song brilliantly established and recreated every single time perfectly by Stevie Wildcard. But what we do is we take monsters, various cryptids, supernatural, boogans, and we ask questions about them. We try to solve, we put the pieces together, and we solve the riddles of the beasts, and we put our knowledge to the test and yours this time, Stephen. So this is what happened. I'm not going to give specific names or anything like that, but I will just say in what we do in the shadows, they show the process of becoming a vampire in it, right? And they show it's something I've seen before. A vampire bites a human, okay, and then that human bites the vampire and drinks the vampire's blood. Okay, often the vampire will cut their own arm or something, and like the human feed. So this happened. There was also a scene where you see, so that happens. So there's a question posed in the show where, well, not a question. They show a thing in the show in which I'm just gonna say it's a mild spoiler. I'm not gonna give characters' names just in case. Spoiler alert for the newest What We Do in the Shadows. Just jump ahead. Like I'll try to remember to put a chapter thing. But so what happens is once the human gets bit, they become a vampire. If a vampire does the same thing again with a different vampire, is so if you and I are both vampires, right? Mm-hmm. If I bite you and then you drink from me, you explode.
That's just the law.
It doesn't make any sense. And that's so it's like, okay, so like what would make sense is, okay, if a vampire drinks vampire blood, the vampire explodes. Like that would fine. Like I would understand that. It's like, okay, vampire can't drink vampire blood. That's a simple enough rule. You're drinking like undead blood. It's too much somehow. Boom, you explode. Not the case though, because the first vampire bites a vampire. So a vampire bites a vampire and he backs up, and then the other vampire bites him, and then he explodes. And this happens more than once, so we know it's a rule in that world. So I'm just like, so what is it? Like, how do they even know? Like, ooh, okay, no. He just been like, someone bit him, he's been punctured, and now he's biting. Therefore, he's the one who explodes, but not the one who initially did the biting. He does not explode.
He does not.
Even though he's now being bit, it's cool. Like the logic, it's quick. And by the way,
because the same thing is being transfused both ways.
Yeah, like it doesn't make it like I don't understand. It's like I guess it's like I don't know. It's like a magic battery that's just like like backfire. Like it's just like I don't understand where the explosion's coming from, because like I said, if it were simply a matter of if a vampire drinks vampire blood, boom, it's poison and they explode. I get that. I totally understand. I don't understand why a vampire would bite you, but then if you bite the vampire that just bit you explode. Is it because, okay, they bit you, you're a vampire, they drank vampire blood, now you're drinking their blood, which has the vampire blood in it, so you have double vampire blood, maybe including your own vampire blood?
Maybe it's like your own, maybe it's, okay, so maybe it's like an echo wave of your own vampiric germ replicating inside their blood, and it's like a sonic explosion. That's the
best. Yeah, vampirism. That's the closest I can come.
But like, if I were a vampire, then yes, I would bite every other vampire, just so if any one of them ever bit me, they're dead.
Yep. Every time you meet a vampire, sorry,
it's literally like going up to a tiger or a lion saying, "Okay, mouth is off limits. Like you can only use your claws now." And that's crazy, because you can keep biting them.
Of course, you bite them all you want.
You've already established the biting dominant. So wait. In the vampire world, there's a dominant sub when it comes to the biting situation.
Of course there is, naturally. However, Steven, you know what else that does? Steven,
what?
Steven. Think about this, okay? Think about this for a second. In that world, you just keep a little squirt gun of your own blood. You're a vampire. Just keep a squirt gun. All you have to do, bite a vampire, squirt your blood into their mouth. Boom. Boom. That's it.
Like, and then like you can like set up this like epic, like freaking like Punisher-esque movie, like with Thomas Jane Punisher-esque movie, like this huge, like planned out situation where you have bitten most of the vampires in the world, and then they get this Christmas package with Banaka, and they're like, "Oh, I love this!" And it's not even garlic flavored Banaka, which is what they usually send as a prank. and all these vampires just explode from the Christmas banaka.
Perfect. It'd be amazing. So my question, okay, so like getting that out of the way, I'm glad like we're kind of on the same page there because like I was like, why? But so it led me to wonder because often when we do this, we say like, what is our definition of this character? You know, like what is like what's a chupacabra? What is our version of Bigfoot? What is our like because in our minds we all see a different thing. Like we all have our different set of rules that have we've accumulated or curated through like the various media and various narratives that we've consumed. So Stephen, I'm asking you in your headspace, right? How do you become a vampire?
So there was obviously an origin. There was an original vampire. There was the first, if you will,
right.
Like just always has, always will be type situation.
Gotcha.
And then that person has done that ritual basically where he has spread the vampiric germ. Now, I know a lot of movies do cover the whole drinking of the vampire's blood, but I've also kind of always just liked if the prey kind of gets away, like you bite prey and they don't die.
Yeah,
it's like it's more
zombie.
of a germ. It's more of a germ. Like
it's the zombie-esque thing. It's the
yes.
It's the From Dusk Till Dawn rather than the Interview with the Vampire.
Yes. So eventually, like if they don't kill their prey, like something happens, or maybe they don't want to kill that prey, that thing becomes a vampire within so many days after the virus takes a hold of them.
I like that too. That's my preferred method as well as like the zombie germ method where it's like, oh no, that's why you kill your prey. That's why you do this. So in some movies like Fright Night, and what's the other one that I was thinking of recently? Like Lost Boys, obviously they have like half vampires where like they've been turned somehow, but if they don't drink blood, they don't turn all the way, right? Like that's
they haven't completed the ritual basically,
right? So like in your headspace or in your like headcanon for vampires, that's not really a thing, right? Because it would just be as soon as you get bit, you're a vampire, right?
I guess yes, but I guess it could be like almost like a Blade situation until you like claim your first victim. Like once you want, maybe like it's like a virus situation where it's like this inner voice in your head is just telling you to feed. Like everything else tastes like crap. Obviously, you crave blood. You eat things that doesn't taste great. You were basically ultimately forced to finish the transformation because the only way you can gain sustenance is through drinking blood. So like almost like the virus like whispers to you as you're transforming, and then the final transformation being your first victim.
Right. Okay. So
and then you explode.
Then you explode after if you drank a single victim. No. Okay. What about the idea of like the master chain? The like if you kill your maker, do you free yourself of a vampirism? Like how is
like
that
the werewolf chain kind of
right
imposed under vampirism?
Because like, I mean that's how it was for Lost Boys, right? If
but it was only the halflings, right? Or what? Or did killing Max actually turn them all back into humans? Is that why David turned human? Because
David turned human because and he didn't even
die
human or technically die according to like the comics and stuff. But it's interesting. They didn't really answer that question, right? Because by the time Max dies in Lost Boys, all the other vampires are dead.
I think personally, if we're gonna go by Lost, what I think Lost Boys was trying to put out was the half vampires lose that first half as long as the one that began the transformation.
That's what I think too.
But if you've claimed a victim, you're a vampire now. There's no going back.
Which is so interesting and complicated. But I guess it's like a two-part epoxy. It's like you get
Once the components are mixed. Once you mix A and B, it's too late.
It's too late. I'm sorry. Oh, did you eat Chad? Shouldn't have done it. Was it even good? Not really.
No.
Now you live forever. You never grow old and you never die, but you must feed. I'm sorry.
You must feed on a poor motorcycle gang in the punk rockers in the woods. One of the most craziest scenes ever.
That was crazy scene. I'll never forget that.
The skull bite is what always gets me in that scene.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it's like these ideas of like the half vampires and people like the master chain of like, okay, well, if you kill their maker before they like feed, then they can be human, but if they feed first, then it won't matter. It's so interesting, especially since like, you know, the immortality thing comes into question, because it's like, okay, well, can you live forever as a half vampire? Obviously they could still eat Chinese food and all that stuff, so that's all freaking like, why would anyone become a full vampire? I know that like it must be like an addiction thing. It must be like you were saying, like the voices are so strong and suggesting, or more than suggesting and demanding, you know, that they feed up this substance, you know, the substance, you know. But like, I don't like. It's just so interesting. But okay,
I just imagine that first vampire like writing the unwritten book of the road, basically of vampires. Like, you must drink your first victim, and then you are a vampire. But if you don't drink your first victim and kill the one that bit you, no longer vampire. They jot that down. Like,
I'm gonna erase that so no one ever knows about it.
The first vampire was actually a scientist that created the viral genetic code of the vampiric gene.
Yeah, so it's like I watched that What We Do in the Shadows, and I was just like, I don't know. I don't like, obviously the vampires will hide their origins and how to become a vampire, and they won't let us know because they don't want Steven and I to live forever. I get it. I understand. But I want to know how to become a vampire for real. So you out there, let us know your favorite version of a vampire, you know, like origin story. Like if you prefer drinking vampire blood, if you prefer just being bit, if you prefer some sort of other ritual. You know, one of my favorite, when it comes to the being bit thing, I like the idea of like a blood transfer, but not like a full blood, not like a blood transfusion in like in the hospital. But I like the idea that like the vampire has to drain most of your blood, but not completely kill you. Like, I like the idea that like you can't be completely dead, but then you drink the vampire's blood to bring
fill
you
your blood.
to fill you. I'd like, you know, not that the digestion system works perfectly that way, but I do like that idea that like you take most of your blood, but just not enough to kill you. So then the vampirism fills you and like reawakens you, and you know you're alive again, undead in this new, you know, life, in this new form. I like that in a sense. That's kind of like the Interview with the Vampire situation, kind of, you know. But
now wait, in Underworld though, correct me if I'm wrong, and I did Underworld, there was like a father that had two sons, and one was a vampire, one was a werewolf, and that created the two separate clans, right? That's kind of cool too, like a ancient, like basically these are other humanoids that just coexisted with human beings, like, you know, these are the clans of the werewolf clan and the vampire clan, blah blah blah. Like, that's a pretty cool way too, by the way. I always thought Underworld was kind of
it's real cool. I mean, lore. I think like the idea of like a lineage is really interesting, but it becomes really difficult because like there is almost always in the various lores of vampires and werewolves a way to turn people into, to curse them with this monstrosity. And it's like, if you're born with it, it feels like more of a burden than it does a punishment of some sort, you know. Like it's like, I like it, but it's often like, for me, I like watching a werewolf character who's like in that position because he's made mistakes or they've made mistakes, and then they have to overcome that part of themselves in order to like either live with it, find a way to like find a balance with their inner, you know, their id or their beast or whatever it is, or chase it, like in Bullet and the Beast, like chase it down, that thing that made you a monster, and kill it so you can be human again, you know. Like I like those ideas, because if it's like, if you are inherently historically, like biologically like a werewolf, that's just who you are, and you need to just like be happy with, you know, be happy with it. Now you're a werewolf, you know, like that's who you are.
Sorry, Roger, you're werewolf now.
Sorry, Roger, you werewolf. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And like I like that. I mean, that's also a story worth telling. Like I appreciate the stories where it's like, hey, this person, like, well, like Teen Wolf, he, you know, he was just born of werewolf, you know, so he's just like, now he's a werewolf, and he has to learn to accept himself both as wolf and basketball player. You know. Okay, I'm glad we got that out of the way. I feel like we talked about the spectrum of vampire,
the germ versus the demonic beings,
versus the germ versus demonic beings versus like biological, like evolution.
Now when it comes to demonic being vampires, though, by the way, those are, they view in the Buffyverse, vampires are kind of like lower demons, right? Weren't they, or something like that? Like, they weren't even like high tier demons at all. They were like,
I mean, especially I like okay, Buffy, like most other superheroes, because Buffy is a superhero. Um, it's like there's a natural escalation that happens in the show, and it's like Goku. Like she's literally,
Mhm.
she's like the low stakes Goku. I mean, not low stakes because the world, but still, it's not universal. It's like it's a
Mhm.
lower stakes Goku where it's like she starts off. Vampires are the strongest, craziest things you can imagine. The big, huge bad is a bad vampire. It's like oh no, like the
It's the
worst
first,
vampire,
yeah,
the
the
worst
first vampire.
vampire, the master comes,
The
and it's
master,
like
that's what it was.
the
Yeah.
yeah, it's like so it's like and she even has like her like low level like first level mini bosses and stuff that she faces, like that one guy that they the Shao Kahn guy who was in Annihilation. Do you remember
Yes.
like Shao, like he that guy was awesome, by the way. He was like a
He's
Arnold
just got the face
Schwarzenegger.
for it.
He
Yeah.
does, but like that guy, he was like a first tier like mini boss who's like trying to work for the next boss who was more like John Malkovich, like,
Yeah.
which is real
Fun
weird.
fact about that guy, by the way, is he plays what's his face? In Joe Dirt, he plays Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs, right? He's
Yeah.
Buffalo Bob in
Oh,
Joe
really?
Dirt. Yeah. Name's Tim. He's like got the hair, the wig on. It puts the low. He does the whole thing. Like that's him. That's Shao
That's
Kahn.
amazing.
Shao Kahn is in Joe Dirt.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I have to watch that again. But like but like Buffy has that whole situation where it's like they start off as like low tier, or they start off like the strongest thing in the world. It's the best. Like she couldn't imagine anything stronger, like Goku fighting Vegeta, and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's nothing stronger than this. And then it's like, oh yeah, but now you're friends with some of those vampires that you
Yeah,
initially fought. And
and
now
like in DBZ, like this, you find out the Saiyans are the lowest class in Frieza's army. Like
yeah,
Vegeta is like, blah blah blah. Yeah, the vampires are nothing. You're fighting side by, yeah. And then video games is the same rule, by the way.
yeah.
If a character is badass, they're strong, but when they join your team, they're not half as strong as they once were. Just like Bowser in Mario
Oh,
RPG.
yeah, of course. So I don't like it. I guess just like every other time we talk about vampires or monsters, it always comes down to like whoever's writing it and whatever their favorite version of the story is, and that's why I like talking about it with you, because it's like
Mhm.
I want to see what your ideas are, and it's like I like that like we often find ourselves in that middle where it's like, yeah, we kind of agree on a lot of this, like like how we
Mhm.
define these monsters, which is cool. And but like I want to know like if you have other ideas, or if we haven't thought of any, if we didn't name any ways to become a vampire, let us know, because I'm sure there are plenty of ways that we haven't considered. Steven, the next thing we're going to do, the next thing we have to do, it's a segment that we've done for a long time now. It's something that I've done for fun, just on the internet. It's our, we usually call it Anthony Dates Robots, Steven, but I don't know what to do with this one. Let me give a little context before we go into like the do any kind. I don't want to sully your intro with like explanation after it. I want to hit your intro, then get into it. Okay, so it's like,
Got it.
so let me. So hi everyone, welcome to another segment from We Have Issues. This is so this is something that we do every once in a while. I go through my DMs in social media, and I see people who message me. I'm just like, oh, these are random strangers who have no reason or excuse in the world to ever try to talk to me or like at all. But what do they want? Like, how can I help? I don't want to like if someone's like, hey Anthony, and I'm not going to be like and just walk by. I probably should, but instead I'm like, yes, how can I help you, random stranger? So when these random strangers talk to me, I say, hey, what's going on? How you doing? And if they seem like a scammer or a robot, I usually start in a bit. I start making I do a bit where I'm like, I'm a Muppet. I like Muppets. I do like silly stuff, right? And what happens is they either play along with it, they get mad, or they don't respond, right? Usually they'll like go along trying to get my information. If they ever ask me to go on WhatsApp or any of like those other,
WhatsApp is the usual
it's,
go-to.
it's the go-to, right? So if they ever try to do that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a giveaway. That's a giveaway. You're a scammer. I'm out. But like by out, I mean like we're doing this. I'm like, we're doing this. So this time starts off like that. Starts off where I'm like, all right, I'm not sure. I'm feeling this out. And then I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go right in and just like start a bit. I'm just gonna be silly, right? And then it gets weird, Steven. So like this one's a little longer because it gets weird, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's worth it because of how bizarre and crazy this gets. And I can't wait for Steven has never read this, just like
I
a
have
lot of you,
not.
just like none of you have ever heard this or read this. I've posted very minimal amount of this online. Often I post it on Twitter. This is something that's been cracking me up for like a week now. So I'm excited to share it with everyone. This is a bit, it's a segment that we usually call Anthony Dates Robots. So Here we go.
Anthony's dating some robots, but maybe he's the robot this time. In this particular episode, this theme song, it may vary, but it's always the same because it's Anthony dating robots.
Ooh, that was good. Anthony dating robots. That was good.
Anthony dating robots.
Okay, so in this edition of Anthony Dating Robots, Steven's going to be playing Liana, who is Ad Hoffman Luann.
And I'm young, beautiful, independent woman who's not afraid to take risks. I'm a single mom and a businesswoman, always up for a challenge.
So this account, unlike most of the accounts that message me randomly and we for this situation or that end up on this situation, this account has been active since 2009, and they have 2,300 followers, which could easily be bots and just random dudes that follow because it's a female avatar and like she posts pictures of a girl, but it's like, I don't know. Maybe this is an account that wasn't active, so someone found it, like a scammer found it, and like got into it. Now, here's the thing: I don't know. It could be a real person. I'm not making any definite claims about this, but we are going to read exactly what happens in this conversation because it's insane. So, Steven, you begin. I was just going about my life. I'm going about my life. I'm just living, trying to color a comic book, trying to edit a podcast, trying to be a dad and a boyfriend and a person who lives in the world. And suddenly, Liana messages me.
She hops into them DMs and she's all like, "Hey there, just wanted to say hi and see if you'd like to chat sometime."
Hey, what are we going to chat about?
Anything you can suggest as well.
How do you feel about ghosts?
Are you a host?
So she misspells ghost, and I write. I'm actually a host. Still working my way up the ranks. I'm 3 scares away from getting my E badge. I'll be the first E host in my family.
You sounds like an incredible person.
I'm no host, but I'm doing my best to get there. What do you like about haunting?
Nothing.
Why do you do it?
What?
Oh, you don't haunt? Are you not a ghost in training?
No.
Oh, what are you?
Normal human being.
What do human beings do?
You are not living on Earth?
I'm on Earth, but I haven't lived in a long time.
So you are claiming that you are a ghost on Twitter?
No, I aspire to be a ghost. I'm a future ghost.
So you are still a human?
For now, unfortunately. Are you?
Yes, I'm. I don't understand you at all. Are you on Telegram or WhatsApp?
Not yet. Are those good places to haunt?
Those are better places than Twitter. We can chat, do calls, and have more features for sharing pics and things like that.
I can't call anyway.
I'm not asking you to, just asking you to download one. We can chat there.
What do we even have in common? I'm working my way up the ghost ranks. You hate haunting. We're just too different. It'll never work out.
It will work. Maybe we can be ghost partners.
You believe I can make it to ghost?
Maybe. Yeah.
Will you help me train? What do you know about ghosts?
I can if you consider adding me on WhatsApp or Telegram. Where do you like to add me?
Okay, I promise to consider it if you tell me 3 ghost facts.
The word ghost comes from the Old English word ghast, which means spirit or soul. The most common places where people report seeing ghosts are old houses, battlefields, and cemeteries. There is no scientific evidence to prove or disprove the existence of ghosts.
Are we playing 2 truths and a lie? The last one is a lie, seeing ghosts with science.
I'm sorry if you got me wrong. I was just telling you facts.
But ghosts are definitely real. Either that or my entire life has been building toward absolutely nothing. If ghosts aren't real, what happens when you complete the 17 classes and then die?
The word poltergeist is German for noisy ghost and is used to describe ghosts that cause disturbances in the physical world, such as moving objects or making noise.
Why would we have a word for noisy ghosts if there are no ghosts to begin with? Checkmate, science.
You can consider this as a third one. And now tell me, are you going to complete your promise or not?
I will complete my promise and definitely consider doing that thing you said. Considering noises. A deep, soulful soundtrack of consideration. Bird sounds for ambiance. There. It's done.
I can't read more text here. If you can add me on WhatsApp, I can chat with you more about it.
Will you consider staying on Twitter?
And I promise we will start the conversation from this point onwards on WhatsApp. I think we're going to have a nice conversation. No, please complete your promise and download WhatsApp or Telegram, whatever you want.
So, okay, so this is at this point, I was like, okay, they're really trying to get me on WhatsApp or Telegram or whatever, the way scammers always do, right? That's always their move. They're like, I'm gonna get you over there, get your information or whatever, and steal from you or get you, like, so I'm like, okay, this person's about to get weird, right? And they do. So I say, my promise was to consider it, and I did. I have I have no unfinished business here. I can leave whenever I wait, no, I should have promised you and then left it unfinished. I'm a fool. A fool.
That means you don't want to come. It's okay.
I don't want to pass on. I must remain here, haunting Twitter for practice.
No problem. I don't want to chat here anymore. I'm sorry you are not a man of your words.
I'm not a man at all. I just graduated to Ghost. We did it.
One.
One?
One means I understand what you said.
In binary? Are you a robot?
Do you have any problem if I'm? I don't want your bullshit. You can't fulfill your promises. You are a liar.
I promised to consider it. I never lied about that.
Don't play with me. If you are considering, then why not you go and download?
I was going to download it, but I graduated to Ghost and now I can't.
Then get the fuck off.
I can possess someone and make them download WhatsApp.
You are insane.
Why did you message me?
To have a great conversation, but you are not the right person. I have a lot of knowledge about ghosts, but you don't want to chat.
I was dying to chat.
But you are regretting as well.
Is that what happens when you both regret a thing and neglect doing anything about it? Because I like it and I'm going to steal it. I regret so much.
Then it means you have attitude inside you. So if you can't fuck your attitude, fuck yourself and mind your own business, because I have more attitude than ghosts. You don't know that at all.
You've gotten so scary and aggressive. Are you possessed?
You don't need to know that.
I think you might be my unfinished business. Whatever you do, never resolve this weird conflict between us. I need to stay here doing ghost stuff forever.
I would love to discuss that with you. I have more knowledge on ghost life, but you don't like to talk about that, so it's your wish.
You're trying to fleshy-splain ghost life to me?
You never know if someone has more information than you. You are not the only one who wants to be ghost.
Yeah.
You know, the capitalizing of ghost makes you think that is this person directly saying like you're not the only person that wants to be Patrick Swayze ghost, like the ghost,
because like he is the ghost, not the ghost of most though. So I say, yeah, there's a whole school.
So be smart and learn more and more from different people with different experience.
What can I learn about hashtag ghost life from someone who's never been a ghost? You don't even like to haunt.
Well, you don't even know anything about me. You can try. If you don't like me, then you can decide whatever you want to.
You want me to try you?
Yes.
How can I try you? Try you on? Like possess you?
You download Telegram or WhatsApp and chat.
I don't want to possess those apps.
Start chatting about ghosts. I'm sure you will enjoy the chat. You have to try me.
You have to just to try. Okay, so all right. Then I think you're just a bad fit.
If it doesn't sound good to you, you can delete them immediately.
Unless you want to pay me or something. I'm new to this ghost thing and still trying to find work.
I don't like to be good enough.
Well, then I have good news for you.
Okay, if you want, I can pay you, but only once you started learning about ghost things.
Okay, I downloaded WhatsApp. I don't like it, though. I think I'm just going to delete it.
Did you create an account with it?
Yes, but I didn't like it.
Okay, first give me your number so that we can chat there.
I deleted my account.
This is not how you can lie to me.
It didn't sound good, so I deleted it, like you said.
I told you if you don't like to chat there, you can delete it. You're trying to play with a player that is not even possible. You are not an American, also.
Like, okay, this is the part where I was like...
This is where the veil drops, huh?
Yeah.
This is...
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I need to keep this going, because, like, what are you talking... Like, I need to know, like, where...
What's the game?
What's the game? Why am I not American suddenly? What is happening? So I was like, okay, you're a player? How did you know that I wasn't an American?
Americans are always straightforward, not doing shit like you are doing.
One player to another. You got me. Look, I'm not really a ghost.
I know.
I try to fool Americans into giving me their information by making them think I can talk to their dead relatives.
Fuck, you are foolish though.
Hey, it works.
This is great. Really?
Okay, so this is where it gets interesting because they start asking me how I make the money. Like,
You're basically training the next level of bots.
so,
Oh man, I hope somebody gets. Oh my god, continue.
okay, so I say more than you think. Haha. Does your way work? Can you teach me
Which way?
the way you get money from Americans?
I work in legal terms, oh well, not like you fucking ass crap scammer.
So I'm like, okay, what do you want from me?
So at this point, this scammer has accepted the fact that you're a scammer also.
Yeah.
This is just like guns pulled situation. Like, I need nothing. I just need honesty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And tell me how much money you are making in a day.
People who DM strangers asking about finances and trying to get them on WhatsApp are always scammers, especially people who become suddenly aggressive and jump to insults.
LOL. You are not an American and don't know nothing.
You're absolutely right. I'm a non-American who knows things.
You know nothing. Tell me what you know.
Give me $500 and I'll tell you a thing.
Fuck.
Why are you so aggressive?
Aggressive?
Yes.
Oh, you don't even know English. This is normal to say in America. Ha ha ha, idiot.
Fuck. Fuck, 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 fuck. America.
Fuck you, idiot. Scammer.
You're so angry and silly. I think I love you.
Ha ha. Think like that. This is your job to do so.
I'm curious to know how you're a real person, but I'm also bored at this point. Good luck scamming or whatever.
I'm the real person, and I like to chat with scammers like you.
Yeah, that seems plausible. Okay, so at this point, I was like, I don't even care. Like, I'm getting bored. Because I don't know what their game is, and they're not being fun, but they're starting to get aggressive. So I was like, okay, I kind of want to go. I kind of want to know, but I don't care. But then I get to the point where when they just said that, and I was like, okay, are they not a scammer? Maybe they just use WhatsApp, but why? Why message me at all? And go like, I don't understand any of this, right? So I'm like, so I start thinking, I was like, okay, maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm just gonna be like, are you a person? Like, what's going on here, right? So I say that seems plausible, like sarcastically, and they say,
But I want to learn from you how to get money from others.
so that's how I make money from others. So I say, it's easy. You just start a podcast and entertain people with ridiculous stories about scammers and people like you. And then people give you money every month to continue. You could also try writing books that a lot of people seem to enjoy. It all sort of works together to bring in money little by little.
How is it possible by podcast people will give money? And also how I can get more listeners?
I say it's easy. You just entertain people and give them something they actually enjoy and create multiple avenues for potential income. Patreon, buy me a coffee, PayPal, personal websites, donations on Twitter, etc.
Nice. And they will trust you. Can you? It's so funny, like the scammer in him, like he just has to pull one over on people.
Yeah. Like he doesn't understand. Like everything I said was just like a sincere, like, hey, this is just how this is.
You got to do what you love. You got to
do what you love. You try, you put it out there. If people like it, they'll give you a little bit of money for doing it in various avenues. If you're
basically teaching them how to have a job. Basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And they're like, ooh, okay, so if I do all that, they'll trust me.
And they'll trust me. Can you speak English as an American? I mean, you have an accent. Oh, wait, here we go.
Trust doesn't mean anything. They support you because they enjoy the content that you're creating and appreciate you as a person as long as you are being genuine. I use a Floridian accent.
How?
I studied for 37 years. I have it down to a science now, like second nature, maybe even first nature.
Ah, that's pretty long, though.
Anything worth doing is worth doing for 37 years.
Hey, what about you? Where are you in?
I'm in Florida, in America.
Are you sure you are?
Yep.
Okay, that's good. And where are you from?
Florida, in America. I was born here.
And from where your family came here?
My parents are from here. My grandparents were from here. My great-grandparents came here from Italy in like the 1930s.
Ah, okay.
Why do you message random strangers here and then try to get them to talk to you on WhatsApp?
Because I like to do this.
So you aren't a scammer. You're just an aggressive, presumptuous rando?
What do you mean by rando?
It's a term for random person.
Yes.
You're just some person who decided to randomly message me and then accuse me of not being an American and not knowing English?
Yes.
Well, this has been a waste of time. I guess I could talk about this weird. I could talk about how weird this is on the podcast, but it hardly seems worth it.
I'm sorry to hear that you feel this way. Sometimes things don't go as expected. Maybe you could find an interesting angle to discuss in your podcast, even if it didn't meet your initial expectations.
Meh, it happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I got to that point, I was like, we're not gonna do this. We're not gonna do it. Like, who can I'm not gonna read this. Like, it's okay. It's fun. Some of it's funny. She gets like they get aggressive and it gets a little weird. But then I was like, all right, whatever. So I posted last week or like like recently I posted and I was like, hey, does anyone have questions for us? And people ask questions. This person asked the question. They were like, why do you scam people and try to get money from them? And I was just like, I don't. What are you talking about? You insane monster. Like you like read a room. Like, how are you so bad at are you someone are you trying to do the thing I do with random people? Like did you message me first? Like I don't go bot fishing. And if I were to try to go bot fishing, I wouldn't choose a random account that looks like I wouldn't choose an account that looks like mine. My account doesn't look like a bot account at all. I post like unique thoughts or like thoughts unique to me, all the time. I'm constantly interacting with people in non like scammy way, like it's very, I don't understand how anyone could look at my account and be like, that's definitely a scammer. So I was like, I don't get why they would message me first unless they were a scammer. So I'm just like spinning and I'm just like, what is going on? So they comment and then they message me again and they say,
Hey, Anthony, are you there?
hey, what's up?
Well, I checked your tweets and you seem to be very aggressive because of my comment.
Okay, they commented, like I said, and they were like, why do you scam people? Blah, blah, blah. And I literally, you can go look at the thread and like nothing I said was aggressive. I was laughing at how ridiculous it is with everyone. So I was like, this is so weird. Anyway, sorry, good.
No one is going to treat you the same way. I'm not going to fight with you on that. But if you have no problem, can I ask you something?
Sure, go ahead.
Anthony, at some point in life, we have to make mistakes to do the right things. Please try to understand me. There is a person on Twitter who has encountered some kind of trouble. He lost money in trading on the wrong platform, and as a result, he is now poor and unable to provide food for his sick wife. Damn, he's putting all of them on it. Additionally, he is facing issues with his Medicare coverage. If you're willing to help him, I can provide you with his contact number so that you can directly reach out to him. If you can help him survive, would you be able to?
You expect me to give money to keep a fictional stranger alive? I'm a freaking ghost. Tell him to come hang out with me and I'll teach him about ghost life.
What the hell is this next passage? I'm not joking, Anthony. It's just a matter of $100 that I borrowed from him, but it wasn't me. But it wasn't me personally. The company I worked for took the money and it wasn't my fault. I find myself in a difficult situation for various reasons. I want you to help him understand that I am a good person. I don't want him to suffer because of me.
How did you expect to pivot from calling me a scammer to asking me for money? Were you hoping I'd just want to prove how non-scammy I was?
Hey, please understand that this is not something I need from you, and I kindly request you not to delve into the matter. If you're willing to conduct research and assist him, I can provide you with his number so you can inquire about his situation. He will inform you of what happened if you trust him and are willing to help. However, if you don't, please refrain from getting involved. My intention was solely to express concern for the person who has suffered financial loss. It is now at risk of losing even more. Instead of fighting among ourselves, let's focus on supporting him.
Yeah, together. You and I, random stranger who's like crazy. Okay, so I say, this is the first time anyone's ever accused me of being a scammer and then immediately proved that they were a scammer. I'm impressed.
Right now, it's not a good time for me to prove things to you, but in the future, we can debate that and prove ourselves. For now, you can have a check on it. Number.
And they give me a phone number.
Blah, 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 blah is his number. Call him directly right now and ask what happened. He will explain better than me.
I didn't respond. And they wrote back.
Did you called?
I can't use a phone because I'm a ghost, remember?
Okay, leave it. I don't care.
I just stopped talking to them. But like Steven, what? What was that?
But that was a journey for sure.
What was that? What happened? I can't tell you, like, as I'm experiencing this, I was like, okay, is this worth sharing with the public? Is this worth like having on the show? Is it too long? Is it like but what is it, Steven? Because obviously it's somewhat okay. There are a couple things. It's like a monster test with potential scammer strangers like on the internet. It could be someone they had an account since 2009, so it's unlike it's an old account, so it's unlikely that it's anyone who's trying to mess with me. right? Like that's like if it's a newer account, I'd be like, all right, it's probably someone who knows that I do this and they're trying to get on the show. And because for a minute I was like, maybe they were trying to mess with me, and then they realized it. Like I was like, this isn't working. And then they were like, "Ooh, anyway, I am a scammer. Here's my scam." That was my thought.
So
I was like,
I guess the way that could potentially work is someone like, oh, I did have that alt account from blah 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 blah, and they just like basically
yeah,
jump back onto that alt.
yeah, that's it.
But I don't know. They do a really good job if they're pretending.
I don't know. I can't. But like,
because the scammers, like the way they typo is a very specific way, and like, granted, it could just be someone imitating their speech patterns and stuff, but I think it's like it feels genuine.
oh yeah, dude. It felt real as I was talking to them, but I couldn't. I just thought it was so funny that they went from like basically trying to get my information to essentially like I'd assume scam me, in WhatsApp or whatever, to like following along and then calling me a scammer,
and then game, but then like the whole game recognizing game situation was really funny too. Like
that was
like the Spider-Man pointing meme is basically what happened halfway through the conversation. Like, oh, you're a scammer too.
Yeah, I mean that's how I took it. And like reading it back, it's like you can read it like they're like, oh, see, you're finally accepting that you're a scammer. And I was like, maybe that's what they were going for, but they're like communicating it really poorly, But I was just like, but if that's the case, why did they message me in the first place? And then how did it bookended with scammy? Like the middle was very weird, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I was just like, how weird is this whole middle section and the whole second act of like them saying I'm a scammer who's not from America, and like calling me all of that nonsense is crazy. It's just like it was so interesting, but they didn't do the thing. So often when scammers realize like, okay, he's not going to give me his information, they'll just stop talking to you, or they'll block you, or they'll leave, or they'll throw their, they'll shoot their shot. Like, they like this person waited until it was like the end where it was just like, oh, I noticed that you posted about me. So I need money. I'm like, what?
Are you a friend? I borrowed. It was such a convoluted situation.
It was such a convoluted situation. Like the whole, and like the way they worded it was just crazy. I was just like, this is impressive. And I needed to get that out. I hope it was entertaining for everyone. It was entertaining for me in my life, but I was just like, I don't know. So I spiral with the segments sometimes. I'm like, I don't know what people like to hear or watch or anything. But let us know what you think below. I'll eventually post all the text on Twitter so you can like read how that was for yourself. It's a very weird conversation overall.
It's strange.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I mean, the thing that really stood out was it's an old account. And they kind of went along with the bit for a while. They said that they like talking to scammers, which I was like, and maybe that's just a matter of, maybe that's a thing where they're like, maybe now they have a bucket for me. Maybe now I'm a category where like, because I know other people mess with scammers. So maybe they were trying to do the thing where they bond with someone where they're like, I mess with scammers. So then maybe I would be like, ooh, I mess with scammers too. And then they'd be like, oh man, we should talk on WhatsApp about how we both mess with scammers. And then that's a new scam. Like that's trying
to evolve the scamming game to get the scammers that scam the scammers.
Exactly. And that's I think that could be what they were intending.
It's an arms race, really. This ain't a scene, it's a goddamn arms race.
By the way, that entire thing that we just did was a Fall Out Boy song. It's the title of Fall Out Boy song that we were.
It's actually their newest track. That's just the title, though. You'll have to like wait till it comes out to hear it. It's probably gonna be like a 2-minute song. It's a 2-minute song. It's a 10-minute title, but it's a 2-minute song.
Yeah, and like 1.5 of those minutes is just like Patrick Stump going. Ah!
the CD case is like the size of like a bedroom, but the CD's like really small in the case. It's that big, and it's actually just an acronym of everything we've said. It's actually not even all the words; it's just letters.
If you paid attention to that whole speech that we just did, the acronym itself, it says this is actually the title of a Fall Out Boy song. It spells it out if you use
it somehow perfectly.
It's perfect. It's amazing. So at the end of every episode, Steve and I, we always talk about what we're going to do next. What are we doing this week? What do you have?
Finish those inks, and we're going to get to coloring and getting this book out.
Heck yeah. tomorrow night, Atlas is going with his mom, so he's going to be with his mom like Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm going to have all of Wednesday and then Wednesday and Thursday to color. So I'm just going to color as much as I possibly can. Like I'm gonna put on like movies, and I'm just gonna like freaking hit it, and like I'm gonna do my best to finish this. That's like
Awesome.
I'm gonna catch up as much as I can to the point where like everything that you've given me, I will have flatted. I'm gonna do my best to do that. So that's our plan. At the very least, I'm gonna say we're only 2 weeks out, maybe, from finishing this thing. Like tops.
Digital copies should be coming really soon, and then
last thing we have to remember to say to people, we did send out the backer reward surveys for the people who are going to have cameos in the book. If you got that tier in our Kickstarter, if I'd imagine you made it this far because it was one of the higher tiers. You're a supporter of our book and us, and we love you. Please make sure that you respond to those. Send us pictures for the references so Stephen can draw your face into the book, and we can get it colored and get that all done. That's like one of the last things that we're waiting for. So if you see this, just please do your best to remember to send us your picture at wehaveissuespod@gmail.com, and we will get that done. Otherwise, Stephen, this has been a pretty good week. I feel good about our monster test. I hope people enjoyed the robot thing. I don't know.
A weird robot. It was a weird Anthony is robot.
It's a weird one, right? I don't know. I figured like I didn't want to make the episode too long, so we're just gonna do those two, and we're like get out of here. But thank you all for listening and watching and supporting us. We have a lot of interesting stuff coming up. We're very close to the end of this. This has been a crazy like 2.5 years now, Stephen, right? Like 150 episodes. Time. I mean, when you think about it, we have, where is it? Here, boom. When you think about it, we have freaking 3 books, almost 4 solid books that we put together and released in this time. We've done numerous conventions now. We've sold a bunch of books. We had a #1 book on Amazon. We've
historic fiction, right?
Yeah, that's right. And like, I mean, we've made friends with Jameson Newlander. Olin Rogers is going to come on our show hopefully soon. And it's like we're doing it. We're doing a lot of cool things. It's totally happening, and I feel really good about everything that's happened. I can't wait. I think the next 50 episodes are going to be great. I feel like we should do a live show probably to celebrate when we finish issue 2. That's my
okay.
That's
what I'm totally down, and Sean is always down to be amazing producer Sean. So
Sean, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry that Stephen just volunteered you. I love you.
Volunteered, bruh.
No,
if you don't accept, I will send images of the comic to your phone.
Spoiler alerts. But thank you all. Thank you for being on this journey with us. It's I know it's like a bumpy ride. Like I get in my head about it and I get all insecure about it. I'm like, but I am so thankful for all this stuff. Like these books mean everything to us, and this has been such a great time. And like, Steve, I love doing this with you. This is so cool.
It's great. It like I said, man, it's just us getting together like once a week because we don't have the time to get together. So
dude, so I don't know, like I think it's been a really good 150 episodes. I wouldn't have had it any other way, except for maybe a couple of those like bad audio episodes in the beginning. I was like, I wish those were a little better, but what are you gonna do? People make mistakes. I'm people. But yeah, dude,
we've evolved so much, and we'll continue to do so. So
that's dude. Speaking of that, we have another new segment coming next week called Are They Still Together, which is based on an old podcast that I started, and Steve and I are going to bring back. We're going to bring it back as a segment on our show. It's going to be
I'm going to be 10 times the Zoe.
No, I can't wait to. I think
no one can be 10 times Zoe.
So it's the idea of this segment is going to be Steve and I are going to talk about romantic comedies and just like romantic movies in general, and we're going to discuss whether or not characters in the movies would remain together after the credits, if the characters belong together in the first place, and if they remain together. And if they remain together after the credits. We're just gonna talk about it a little. It's gonna be like a segment like we normally would, so it's gonna be like a 5-10 minute, like quick thing. But I think it'll be fun. I think a lot of people will appreciate it, and we're gonna we'll be talking about movies that most people have seen, so it's not gonna like alienate anyone, really, hopefully. And I don't know if we should like plan it where like we tell people like, hey, like next week, for instance, like if you like we're gonna talk about 13 going on 30. So if you haven't seen that in a while and you want to like refresher, go watch that movie, and then like next week when we talk about it, it'll be like fresh in your mind, But
Absolutely.
otherwise, we have a lot of plans for this podcast, and I really hope that everyone like sticks around. Just we're trying really hard to grow this colony. It's not easy. It gets like, you know, we both struggle. We have a lot of stuff like we talked about earlier. A lot of stuff going on all the time. We're both parents, and we both have to work, and we both are making comics, obviously, and you know, like the podcast and all this stuff. So like we're trying our best to get it out there, but we can't always do it by ourselves. So if you're out there and you made it this far in the show, just like know that we appreciate all of the sharing and the support and like all of the likes and all of the stuff. We see that stuff, and like, and I'll tell you, part of being busy is not being able to always respond to that stuff, and I hate that. Like, I mean, like, it drives me crazy, and I start spiraling, and I'm trying to get better at that too. But like, just know that like, even if we don't comment on your like repost or like, you know, retweet or whatever, like know that like when we see it, we are so thankful and we love you, and like it means everything to us. So thank you. And I hope you keep doing that for the next billion years when we, you know, as we do this podcast, because we're going to do this for a billion years. It's, I mean, we're going to live forever. It's a
We're
billion.
gonna live forever, and we're gonna be at the same levels, though.
Don't you dare, Steven. Don't you put that evil on me, Steven. No, we're believing in this. We have faith in this project. We're making a movie. We're making more comics. We're making music videos soon. It's going to be better than ever. And I mean, it's been pretty great. We're going to keep having issues, but like, they're going to be better issues, right?
Just the best issues.
That's right. But thank you all for watching. I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
And this has been We Have Issues. See you next time.
Boom.
Hello. Welcome to episode 150 of We Have Issues. I can't believe we're on episode 150. This is nuts. We've come a long way. I got a lot more stuff in the back. It's pretty cool. We have 150 issues. We have 1, 2, 3 books to show for it. So far. Almost 4. It's pretty cool. Nearly 4 books completed. Nearly a dozen. A bunch of conventions. There he is.
In progress.
There it is. All right. What's up?
What up?
What's up, dude? How's life?
It's good. I forgot to take my evening allergy medicine, so my voice might sound nasally tonight. But
damn it, Steven. Damn it. You have one job.
I have one job, ladies and gentlemen.
You had so many jobs. You have so many jobs, Steven. I give you all the jobs.
I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a jack of nothing. Jack, I just stop jacking.
I'm like most jacks are on. Like, I'm just a straight, like, just I'm an off jack, basically.
You're an off jack is what you are.
I'm off the beaten path. On the beat.
Oh, just yanking around, just yanking out. Jeez. All right. I can't believe we're on episode 150. We're so crazy.
150? Wow, Dan. Episode 150. They're trying to evolve the scamming game to get the scammers that scam the scammers, 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 that scam the scammers.
Exactly.